In Greenville, South Carolina, in 1985, a daring helicopter prison break took place at Perry Correctional Institution, allowing 3 inmates to escape. Joyce Bailey Maddox was the woman behind it all. She's from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and she was 40 years old at the time of the prison escape. She made an appointment at Palmetto Helicopters to go for a ride, and as the helicopter took off, she told the pilot to fly to Perry Correctional Institution. As they flew over the prison, she held a gun up to the pilot and told him to land in the prison yard. She'd planned out everything and even had getaway cars stashed for later. Her reason for doing this was all for love. She apparently loved Jesse Glenn Smith, one of the inmates, and did all this because of how deep their love was for each other. Jesse Glenn Smith is one of the inmates who escaped. He was 36 years old at the time and from Easley, South Carolina. Smith was serving time in prison for armed robbery, receiving stolen property, and assault and battery with the intent to kill. This was who Maddox was supposedly in love with. James Rodney Leonard is another inmate who escaped. He was only 20 years old at the time of the escape and from Greenville, South Carolina. Leonard was in prison with a life sentence for murder, as well as for larceny and burning a car that was connected to another murder. William Douglas Ballou is the third inmate who escaped. He was 42 and from Greenville, South Carolina. He was serving time for armed robbery and attempted escape. Larry Gene Green was the pilot who was held at gunpoint by Joyce Maddox. He was a Vietnam veteran and from Greenville, South Carolina. He was working at Palmetto Helicopters that day and took Maddox for a ride. When she asked to see the prison, he just thought she was interested in seeing it. When she pulled the gun out on him, he realized that was not the case. He said he was scared and just did what she said instead of fighting back because she seemed so cool and collected about it all.
Joyce pointed the gun at Mr. Green and instructed him to land the helicopter in the fenced yard. He did this in fear of being shot. It was a successful landing in the prison yard with 200 prisoners, and the helicopter was approximately on the ground for 1 solid minute. William Thomas Wade was an active guard on duty, and he spotted the helicopter and approached it with gunfire. He was 34 years old. William Thomas Wade was then shot in the mouth with a .38 caliber handgun. He was rushed to Greenville Memorial Hospital and had surgery immediately.
The pilot then landed the plane in a nearby field, and in that field there was a getaway car awaiting them. They traveled to southern Georgia in their 1977 blue Dodge Aspen getaway car.
Joyce Maddox and the 3 inmates were captured 4 days later in Georgia, near the Florida state line. The criminals were peacefully sleeping in their getaway car at a welcome center off of I-95 when the police found them and arrested them. Joyce Bailey Maddox was sentenced to 40 years in federal prison and was released in 2004. Jesse Glenn Smith and William Douglas Ballou were sentenced to 60 years each, and James Rodney Leonard was sentenced to 10. This helicopter prison break was something no one had seen before, and it even had an impact on pop culture, as the 1989 movie titled The Outside Woman was based on the story.